Hopefully, we are live.
Poggers.
All right, today we're going to be talking about role-playing games, be they tabletop or video, the MMORP types, and why everybody should at least try role-playing once in their life and the benefits of role-playing games, because they're very beneficial. Uh, Even before I had to go and do some therapy back in the day, they were recommending role playing games. I've been playing role playing games since the 1980s, having fun and just having fun. So we have with us today my son Zachary, and we have the remains of Bnuy with his co-host. So let's talk about some role playing games. Oh, hey Suzanne, it's all right. Uh, I hope you're having a good day today, Suzanne. Um, Anybody wanting to start off talking about the benefits of role playing games and how much you enjoy them?
I don't know many benefits, but all I have to say is the first thing the first number I've ever rolled on a d20 was a nat 1. So that wasn't really the best start, but the second roll right after was a nat 20. So that was pretty poggers.
True. The For me, the role playing game isn't really just the dice rolls. It's allowing your imagination to fly and being able to work stuff out without, like, say you're really upset. Having characters that are going out and beating shit up is better than you going out and beating people up and going to jail. Actually had people talk about that a lot. Whenever
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Yeah, but there's more to it than just the legality of it. It's the whole violence against another that does damage to you as well as to the person you're beating. It might not seem it at the time, but trust me, later in life, it will come back to haunt you. Least expect it. But like I said, games to me, they allow you to work stuff out in hopefully a positive way. But there's so many role playing games out there that allow you to really find your genre, find your niche, to let your hair down and let your imagination loose and just be creative and be constructive. Um, Everybody knows the granddaddy of all role playing games, Dungeons and Dragons. And heck, we had the Great Satanic Panic that was created to try to stop role playing while it was still in its infancy. I still remember living through that crap. And even as a kid who had read the book, had only got to read the books and had not yet really fully got to have a real role playing game experience, knew that the lies that were being said about Dungeons and Dragons and role playing games was bullshit. And I stood up to it at the church that I was going to at the time by saying, but everything this man's saying to us isn't in any of the books. And this guy tried to use that, saying, see, it's even touching up here in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, but everything you've said's not in any of the books. And it really upset my parents that I talked back in the middle of church. And I said, but you've always told me if I know something is a lie to stand up to it, you know? And he was blatantly lying about Dungeons and Dragons. And oops, we just lost Bnuy. Hopefully he'll be back. Hopefully he'll be back. Oh, iPad's heating up due to the weather. He's got to let it cool down. So hopefully that means he will be back in a little bit.
Yeah.
But
you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like a skill issue, to be honest.
Well, iPads do heat up a lot, just like
I
cell
was saying that
phone, what you call it, will heat up. Can't stand those little boogers. But then again, I don't like iPads either. Even though they're a lot bigger and I can type on them, it's just the fact it's an iPad. I don't like how they get made.
Yes, Apple sucks.
But anyway, the whole satanic panic thing, that can be its own live stream where I could try to find older gamers who lived through it when they tried that stuff. So
I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't have done anything. To be honest, like, because it's just Christians that would have been like against it. Because if you think about it, other religions and other people with beliefs would have been like, "Oh, it's that stuff. I don't really care about that stuff. So, hey, I'm pretty chill."
No, there were actually other religions that jumped onto it at the time because it was insane. Because there were actual atheists that were against it. And it was, like I said, it was insane. They were trying to work something up at the time. You had.
Why would atheists be against it if it was worshipping the devil, but atheists themselves don't believe the devil exists?
They were using it as a platform to attack something that they didn't like. One of the things that triggered it was a kid that was really super smart, so much smart that they advanced him in grades, got involved in role-playing games. They made so many movies about this kid playing Dungeons and Dragons in the steam tunnels at this college. And the kid was messed up to begin with, and they were trying to blame all of his problems on role-playing games. And they used him to create the Great Satanic Panic and did a disservice to both himself and to the world by blowing something up that wasn't the cause of why he committed suicide. Later, I'll get you a link to it where you can read about it because, in all honesty, I might actually end up doing a live stream talking about his case because it's one of those things to where the family became so deluded about what was going on in his life that drove him to commit suicide.
I think we're getting a bit off topic.
Yeah, but like I said, that's what triggered the Great Satanic Panic. Was a family's tragedy that they could not accept the truth behind what caused it, and it ended up creating an entire industry of anti-role-playing games. Because yes, they started out attacking Dungeons and Dragons, but then they spread it to all other role-playing games, and I think it's called trans something meditation. They also went against that, where people were trying to get into meditation to try to bring the help with like blood pressure problems and things of this nature. Finding yourself. They attacked that too. But back on the topic to role playing games and the benefits of them. So many people don't realize that role-playing games also are used by therapists to help people deal with PTSD, and that's literally just the tip of the iceberg, because I've known of therapists that have used it to help people get over various traumas that they've dealt with, also to be able to get past social anxiety, relationship problems, things of this nature. It's it's a extremely adaptable to a wide variety of problems in the therapy industry. And heck, it's just something that people get together and do for fun over beer, pretzels, and pizzas. And it can be beneficial in just getting you more in touch with your creative mind as well as your inner child. That imagination run that you had as a child. Why do you think children have so much energy? Is that they've got their imagination running? It inspires them to do more with in less time. It's wild that way. And it's just something that's fun that you can act on various impulses in a positive, non-negative way that doesn't hurt nobody. It's one of the reasons why some of the stuff that they've been putting out trying to corral your imagination and your attempts of having fun. Sitting around a tabletop should allow you to be able to deal with touched-on issues that you've got instead of, no, I don't want to deal with this. It's a safe space that you can deal with anything sitting around a table. And I've seen role-playing in therapy used to help people overcome the traumas of assault in all its forms, if you know what I mean. I've seen it used to help people get past child abuse. Hey, what are you two little butts doing? Stop it. You behave. You're messing with my logbook. And that's not cool. You just lost my place and I have to find it and put it back, you little butt. It's not your toy. Kraken, you be good. You got to be a good boy. Sorry about that, guys. My cats are being buttheads. Stuff they're not supposed to. Hey, what's up? Now, the whole fact about role playing having its benefits, and its benefits outweigh its detractors. Now, especially considering the fact that all you need to play are some dice, a piece of paper, a pen, or a pencil. And
preferably a pencil.
Yeah. But in a pinch, a pen works too. But too many people don't realize this. You know, it's one of the reasons why Hasbro, when they bought Wizards of the Coast, which are the owners of Dungeons and Dragons, they bought it and they started going, oh, we need to make more money off of this. Let's make more editions of the games. And they kept trying to put stuff out as cheaply as they could, which is one of the reasons why things are the way they are when it comes to the situation you've got with the dismal. It's just really messed up with what's been going on with Dungeons and Dragons. There are entire channels on YouTube dedicated to this that have talked about what's been going on behind the scenes at Wizards of the Coast and at Hasbro that's basically really messing up the role-playing game industry, and turning people against the old standard of Dungeons and Dragons. But on the upside, you've got new companies that are coming in with not just new game settings, but also game systems that aren't tied to any other game. You know, it's all new, all natural for some of them. But you do have many standby systems that's out there, not just the D20 system, You've got the Savage World system. You've got this 2D20 system that's come out by Morpheus Games that does the new Star Trek Adventures, Fallout role-playing game, Space 1999, and several others. You've seen the rebirth of the D6 system that was created by West End Games, and they're relaunched with the Planet of the Apes role-playing game. This is the game system that did the first Star Wars role-playing game and kept Star Wars alive for a very long time and kept the interest up and put out source books about all of the novels that were coming out that was really good. They also did the Hercules and Xena role-playing games. They did the Ghostbusters role-playing game. Now, if you guys want a very fun, irreverent game, Ghostbusters was a really good one. And I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed the highly irreverent game known as Paranoia. Oh, shoot, Zach had to leave. Well, I'll keep going as long as I can, talking about some role-playing game history here. These are some really good games out there. The Ghostbusters game was fun and enjoyable. It wasn't it was as slapstick as you wanted to make it. Paranoia was a game that I enjoyed at conventions, but it wasn't one of those that really seemed to fit for a long-running campaign because each of the players was given a list of goals that they had that set them off against the rest of the party. And every time you got killed, a new clone of you would be activated, and you would pick up where whatever character version of you just got killed went off. And it was fun for conventions, which is about the only place I ever got to play Paranoia was at gaming conventions. The benefits of role-playing games, like I said, are pretty wide and there's just so many benefits of gaming. It can help you with your mental and emotional health, help you deal with issues that you've got. It's a way of bonding with your friends. When I was in the Navy, our gaming group was about 30 people. And we would have some pretty epic gaming sessions while I was in the service. We played a wide variety of games, from Battletech and the MechWarrior role-playing game that went with it, Robotech, which was made by Palladium Games, and Rifts, which was also made by Palladium Games. We played Dungeons and Dragons. We played Twilight 2000, which was its tagline was "When the Cold War Went Hot," and it was known for the last message before your command structure was overrun by the Soviet army that was rolling over you. The commanding general saying, "You're on your own now." And it was a fun game that dealt with some really heavy issues of what life would be like after the Third World War and nukes got tossed around and what would end up happening, you know. And in fact, we were all military personnel. It was something that we were being trained to deal with at the time. And it's just the way it is, you know. And hold on for a second. I'll be right back. There we go. But like I said, role-playing games are a form of, not just a form of entertainment. They can be beneficial. I keep talking about it being used in therapy sessions because it was used to help in the therapy that I went through dealing with domestic abuse. It also helped with other types of abuse that I had suffered and got past it and helped heal. So yeah, I'm a big advocate for gaming because even in a non-therapy type session, you're always working through issues in life. And you can use various aspects of your personality in creating your characters and the scenarios that you're going through in a role-playing game. It can, like I said earlier, it's a safe space where you can work through these issues. It's one of the things that gets me about all these attempts to have trigger warnings and the X card and all this other stuff. When you're supposed to be sitting around a table with friends that care about you, that love you in their own way, what's a better, safer space to deal with whatever problems you've got? Who knows? They might actually help you make breakthroughs in dealing with what problems you've got. Like I said, and I've had almost every type of person you can imagine sitting at a table with me gaming. Be they in the closet, or they out and proud about being gay or being trans, or a wide variety of other things that people think they have to hide from others to quote unquote fit in. Gaming is that safe space where you can let your freak flag fly and be yourself. You don't have to hide from anybody, unless, of course, you're a kid diddling map, minor attracted predator. That's the only thing that gaming really is a. Who knows? Maybe one day the therapist will be able to figure a way of helping people get past that and get past that attraction. And who knows? Gaming might be a way of doing it. I don't know. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a guy who finds those types of people not kosher. But I really want to talk about what I love about the gaming, where you get your imagination and let it run. You can let your imagination run wild and be able to do the types of things you can only dream about doing. Yes, you're still not physically doing them, but in your mind, you're letting your mind run. You're letting your creativity flow. Whenever I game, my ability to draw gets better. I'm inspired to draw more. The more I game, the more I draw. And it's all about allowing your creative juices to get to go. If you're a writer, it can help you with your writing. If you're a singer, it will help you sing better or write songs better, and so on. Yeah, Jeff, that's what I had to deal with when I was a kid, was the Great Satanic Panic. Jeff is saying, my grandma loves to buy into the scare tactic crap. She thinks RPGs are satanic. That comes from a base of the majority of people aren't gamers. They don't read the books. They don't know anything about it. So they're going to take the word of quote unquote so-called experts who have their own agendas. And the Great Satanic Panic, like I was earlier talking with Zachary about, that all came out of a family's tragedy where the family did not want to accept the facts about what caused their child to lose his mind and commit suicide. And their entire it created an entire industry of scare tactics. It proved that you could turn anything into something you can make a scare tactic about, that would create an industry of so-called experts being able to go around and spreading lies that were blatant lies for anybody who had read the books would know wasn't true. And it's insane that they were able to pull that. Oh, so yeah, the whole, who knows, we might end up doing a great satanic panic one day, where that's what we're going to and talk about it, because to me that's one of the things that most don't know about is what triggered it, and what kept it going was people knowingly lying and keeping it up. In many ways, we're seeing the effects of that type of a mindset with a whole lot of activists who got what they were wanting, and then they were like, well, what are we going to do now? We got to keep the grift going, and started a whole new grift that's turned the majority of people, even people who had supported them to get the beneficial stuff passed, that now even the beneficial stuff that has been passed in the past, that got passed into law back then, you now have people who were full supporters of it and benefited from it who are now against it because of what the activists and so-called experts who got paid to go around and talk about this shit are doing today. Let's see. Yes, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, and even anime are all victims of the satanic panic. Well, money, the addiction, they deserve people not liking them. But because of what Wizards of the Coast did with Money, the Addiction, back in the day, we lost a whole lot of comic book stores and role-playing game and modeling stores because of business practices of Wizards of the Coast back in the 90s. If I can talk Tony into coming on here and talking about Magic the Gathering, we might touch on that a little bit, because like I said, Wizards of the Coast did some pretty shady stuff. My contact with Magic the Gathering was the fact that I was doing artwork so much and going to different conventions. They offered me a job doing artwork for the cards, and I didn't think I was good enough back then, so I turned them down. And my buddy Mark Poole, who took the job offer, now has a house with a art studio that's bigger than the house I'm living in. Yes, I made a big ass mistake and didn't take the job opportunity that I could be making. I could be sitting on a little nest egg of a fortune right now. But hey, that was then, and it's water under the bridge. Can't live off of that thought of nostalgia on that one. But role-playing games are fun, and anything that you can think of, there's probably a role-playing game for it. There's superhero role-playing games. Heck, Marvel Comics and DC Comics have both had their own dedicated role-playing games. West End Games did a DC Comics superhero game after Avalon Hill, I think it was, did the original one with a system that was hard to figure out. I mean, I had to ask my mom when it came out to try to help explain to me how to make a character, and she read through all the math stuff, and she's like, I don't understand this. You also have the Champions game system, which is the hero system, which is also one of those systems that's very math heavy to build a character. My first superhero role playing game was TSR's Marvel Superheroes game with face rip system, and it was easy to make a character, and it was easy to play, and it was so much fun. And you can still find where people have kept this game system alive even after it died out. You know that you can't find the books anywhere, but the fans keep it alive. There's several Facebook groups where you can find people that are playing it, and they're posting new source books where they're adapting the good stuff from the modern game Marvel comics into it to where you can play it in your games. Let's see, there's also Mutants and Masterminds, which was one of my all-time favorite superhero games that was based off of the D20 system open gaming license. And it was so much fun and easy to make characters to it that I used to sit and spend days doing, when I had nothing else to do, making characters just for fun. Yes, there is write-ups for all the members of the Queensman, the superhero team I created for Charlotte, North Carolina, which the American Patriot is a member of. You also have a very big, wide variety of science fiction role-playing games. Star Trek currently has Star Trek Adventures by Modius, which is one of the 2D20 game systems. Space 1999, they just released it. That's also the 2D20 system. Fallout, which is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi based off of the computer games. It's also the 2D20 system, also by Modius. These settings are really fun and enjoyable. You also have the granddaddy of all sci-fi gaming, which is Traveller, which has gone through multiple gaming systems and multiple editions. You have, let's see, not just Traveller. There's Battlestar Galactica, a role-playing game out there. There's Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, which was also done by Eden Studios. There's All Flesh Must Be Eaten, which is a zombie game. There's so many wonderful games out there of every different genre you can get. And Jeff says, one day I'd like to get on and talk about video games if I can find the time. I have the same therapeutic connection to video games. Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I added in not just the role-playing games for tabletop, for video games as well. The MMORPs are fun as all get out. I play every day my Fallout 76. I've got the Knights of the Old Republic that I've played. I used to play City of Heroes and City of Villains. And the Star Trek Online game, I used to play it. There's so many wonderful games out there. And they use video games for therapy as well. Not just Call of Duty, but a wide variety of video games are used in therapy today. It doesn't matter if it's a tabletop or a video game. It's something that helps you express yourself. It helps you work out the aggression. I personally know several people, when they get home from work, it's what they use to de-stress. They use the video games to work out any anger or aggression that they've worked up. And especially the law enforcement people that have had to deal with some really messed up shit. That's one of their ways of unwinding and just blowing off that steam to get past it, because, like it or not, law enforcement, firefighters, and paramedics and emergency medical technicians, they deal with stuff on a daily basis every day. each and every day that even active duty military don't deal with on an everyday basis. And they get treated horribly in real life. And they desperately need a way of de-stressing, and role-playing games and computer games is a way of doing it. Like I said, when I was in the Navy, that's one of the ways we de-stressed from all the stress that we were undergoing. And the funny thing is, one of our biggest stressors was the fact at the time we had the Soviet Union that still existed talking about, we're going to nuke you all the time. So, we ended up playing Twilight 2000, which was our nightmare scenario of what would happen if the Cold War blew up into the hot war and the shit hit the fan and nukes started flying. And so, yeah, it's an escape valve that can help you de-stress. It can, like I said, the benefits for gaming are wide and varied, just as it is for each individual that plays them. And I think everybody should at least try it once. See if it helps you. If it doesn't, okay, you can move on. If it helps you by just having fun, do it. It's not going to hurt you in the long run unless you have other issues such as dissociative disorder, where you pull yourself out of reality all the time, and it's easy for you to pull yourself out of reality. That I wouldn't recommend going into gaming. That was one of the issues that that triggered the Great Satanic Panic with a suicide. The kid became obsessed with this other life, and that other life became real to them. And they did not like the fact that they couldn't live that other life 24/7 in reality, which is horrible. And I just don't know how else to put that. That kid, what he was going through was pretty bad. So yeah, I'm drawing at the blank at the moment. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to have co-hosts to bounce things off of and keep going. But since my co-hosts aren't here anymore, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. I hope everybody has had some fun on this first Let's Talk About. It's not as fun as I was hoping it would be, but every journey starts with a step, even a small step or a misstep. So let's hope everything goes better the next time we do this. And as I have said many times in the past, this world needs a lot more love in it. Share the things that you love with those around you. Who knows? They might end up loving them too. In this world, it really, really needs more love in it. So let's share the love. Let's show the world we can be so much better. Bye.